Good afternoon, Mukwanago High School and any others who may be watching. Welcome to the first annual ITSCM Department Techapalooza at the University of Whitewater, Wisconsin. My name is Elena Platt, and I'm a professor with the ITSCM Department, which stands for Information Technology and Supply Chain Management. This is Andy Saganek. He will actually be doing most of the session. He's also an IT professor. And the whole event is designed to showcase a set of very interesting student projects that our students have been working on hard all semester long. Some of them, you'll see students have started their own companies based on projects that they came up with over the school year. You'll see different projects related to research, some projects related to helping not-for-profits, and also helping some of the local schools. So the idea is to give some credit to these amazing students who have done really wonderful projects, and to let you guys have a little insight into the exciting things that you can do with information technology and supply chain management. Andy?
Yes. Thank you, Elena, and my name is Dr. Andy Saganek, and I'm here excited to show you about all the great things happening over here in our IT and supply chain department. We do have a Twitter feed, which is Techapalooza at UWW, for you to engage with us, but it is currently not working. But what we'll do is we'll walk around and field questions, and hopefully that'll answer some of the things that you have in mind. So with that, we can walk around and just see what's going on and what Techapalooza is all about.
You want to get started with your poster, Andy?
Sure, I can start walking over here. So as a faculty member in the IT department, I teach a lot of things related to IT. So I teach how to develop databases, how to build software, things like that, how to build websites. But another particular interest of mine is international things internationally. And in particular, in Thailand. So Thailand here, I wanted to talk a little bit about how I use my own research and bring it into the classroom. So you can see Thailand right here, and the process that I describe is I start off with my teaching. So for the past couple of years, I've taught classes, IT classes over in Thailand. From that, I was able to do research, a part of that, which I then take some of my research findings and actually bring that back to my classroom here over at UW-Whitewater. From that, I became aware of different opportunities that our students here at Whitewater could have by interacting, both helping me with my research, but also going to Thailand themselves and experiencing these type of things that I've seen. And so just to describe some of these things, again, I started off by teaching here at in Thailand at an international university, which means that everything's taught in English over there, in a university called Assumption University in Bangkok. It's a private university, and it's actually quite well known in all of Southeastern Asia. But from that, I did my research in Thailand, and I used that as a base where I could explore a lot of interesting things related to Thailand and technology. Thailand's pretty popular because, I mean, I've got a map right here, but you can see their neighbors are India and China, and so that's basically half the world's population. That's their neighbors. But what really is interesting about Thailand for me is because the culture is so very different than the United States. And a lot of these different dimensions on what you can measure culture, the United States and Thailand are almost opposites. And so that's really helpful for me as a researcher because I can really see some nice contrast in the types of things I examine and study. So from that, I bring those experiences and the lessons that I've had in my research, and I bring it into education, into the classroom, so classes that I teach. And then from that, again, bringing back to seeing opportunities that I could have for my own students here at Whitewater, we developed an MOU, which is a relationship between UW-Whitewater and this university that I teach at. And this MOU, which is a Memorandum of Understanding, allows our students to study over in Thailand and Thailand students to study over here in the United States at Whitewater. So from that, again, bringing it back to other type of experiences related to my research and other things specific to Thailand, it's just a cycle that continues to go round and round. And it's just some of the things that I do in the IT department and how I engage my students with my research. So with that, maybe we can take a look around and see some of the other types of projects that are going on at UW-Whitewater.
Actually, if you come come right over here. This group does not have a table, but this is actually my mobile development course. And it's a class where basically you spend all semester long learning how to make apps for Android devices. It's a relatively small class, but they've done some pretty amazing things. So this semester we had 2 clients. We actually worked with Dr. Christina Outlay, who is also an IT professor. She has a blog that's related to fitness and scholarly activities, but for a variety of reasons has to her customer base travels a lot. So one of the groups is she wanted to have an app for her website. They had an all-in-one travel converter. The other one is that the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater has its own student radio station, The Edge. And while they had a website where they could stream their radio station, they didn't actually have an app. So they came to us, and over the course of the semester, the students developed a fully functional radio app. So if you guys would like to introduce yourselves and say who you are and what year you are and what project you worked on.
So I'm Kevin Buntman. I'm a senior currently, and I'm a secondary education major for mathematics and computer science. So we did the world trip calculator, which Elena described already. So, yeah.
I'm Craig Nelson. I'm a senior at UWW, a computer science major, information technology minor, and I worked on the Edge radio station mobile app.
I'm Ben Zork. I'm a media arts and game development major. I also worked on the radio app with Craig, and yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. And one interesting tidbit is actually that Kevin is going to be student teaching at Quantico High School in the fall. So keep your eyes peeled for this man. So just a few questions, guys. Why did you decide to take mobile development?
Well, for me, being education major, I just wanted to get out another outlet for computer science, and I think apps is a place that's going and really building in the future, so wanted to learn more about it.
What did you consider to be the most challenging part of designing and building the apps?
Honestly, just all the different toolkits available to help you program. In the end, it came down to finding something that was fully documented and that you were able to use, but there are so many resources out there with developing applications. It's just a matter of picking and choosing which ones work best for you.
Thank you, Craig. And just one more question. So, it's actually pretty cool that at the end of the semester, the World Trip Calculator will be available through Dr. Outlay's store for download, and later on the Edge will actually be available for Whitewater students or anyone else to stream it. How does it make you guys feel that you actually were able to develop a piece of technology in your class that people will use to make their life easier when they travel internationally, or just, get to listen to music a little more seamlessly? How do you feel about that?
I don't know, it's pretty cool actually. I mean, I feel like I actually accomplished something and it's going to be used by people, so I actually appreciate their input on it. Falling over. But I don't know, it's the first thing I actually feel like I actually get out of being both in college and actually as a product of my education, so it feels great.
And it's a pretty great thing to put on your resume for when you're looking for jobs. So I can tell you as their professor that these 3 young men were pretty fabulous, as were all of their classmates. So if you're interested in this, whether you come to UWW or you go to another school, you might want to keep your eyes peeled for a mobile development course. Thank you, guys. Now we're going to move on to the next poster, which is actually mine. This is my wellness manager. So one thing you may or may not realize about UWW is that we actually have a technology park that's geared towards growing entrepreneurship. So if you've ever thought that it would be cool to be a business owner one day, there's a lot of support for that sort of thing here. So this is my first year as a professor at UWW. This is something that I came up with when I was just finishing my PhD, and I realized from talking to a variety of people that managing your health is actually a really complicated thing to do. So if you think about it, you go to your doctor, you talk to your parents, and they're always, make sure you exercise, stop sitting in front of the computer, eat more vegetables. And we all know in theory that those are good things to do. But it's kind of hard for people, we're good at seeing short-term things, so if you ate like a carrot stick and felt amazing 5 minutes later, everybody would eat carrot sticks all the time. But health is a little bit different, where there's sort of a cumulative effect. So for those of you who exercise, you probably realize for sports players, say if you're on the football team or the soccer team, when the season gets started, you're usually kind of tired if you haven't really been exercising. But then as the semester progresses and you've been exercising more regularly, even though you're more active, you feel better. Well, this app is designed to help people keep track of what they're doing to be healthy and to offer encouragement and point out the things that they're doing that works. So that's the business end of things, and I've had 2 students, both named Chelsea, working on different aspects of this. I had one student named Chelsea Steinhauer, who unfortunately, neither Chelsea is here yet, but she's been working on a research project related to that. What we've been doing is we've been studying, what do you actually need to include in an app to make people like using it and keep using it and have it be effective for them. So her research project came out of that. The other Chelsea is actually a marketing major with an IT minor, and she wanted to learn more about social media marketing. So she did an independent study with me, and she's actually come up with a marketing plan and has been executing it on social media for us. So it's a pretty cool project. Now, you guys just saw the previous group was from mobile development. And over here, we have a project. These students, if they could come over here really quickly, their names are Anthony Labuda and Evan Sutherland. At least that's what I called them last semester. This semester, I call them nickel and dime development because what they did is pretty amazing. They had a wonderful idea for their final project in mobile development, and they said they wanted to keep working on it. So they've taken an independent study with me, which is a special type of college course you can take. You have to get a professor to agree to it. But basically, you have like a project or something that's you kind of get to go out and explore some sort of cool idea, and you work on it, and basically each independent study is tailored to the student and the student's needs. So these guys did an independent study with me to actually build their app. So I'll turn this over to you if you want to talk a little bit about what you guys have done this semester.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll start right off from the beginning. We developed this in iOS. Neither of us knew iOS development. We knew a little bit of Android development from a class with Professor Platt. So, being an independent study, one of the main things is you start with an idea or a concept, and you kind of just run with it. And, you kind of teach yourself along the way. You have a little bit of guidance to kind of help you, hold your hand through the process. But, it's really up to you to take it upon yourself to do it. So Evan actually decided that he wanted to learn Xcode and Objective-C, so we decided to do the Android app. Or iOS app, my bad. So a little bit about the app. So nowadays students, they have so many pressing things. They have social obligations, they have all their classes, extracurricular activities, work. So it's kind of hard to help manage your time and your classwork effectively. So with the app, what we did is we made a way for students to help track their assignments, due dates, quizzes, exams, things like that. But we took it up, sorry, a little too low, but we kind of decided that we wanted to have a social aspect to it. So the app is more like a social assignment notebook. What it does is, since you're in a classroom with 30 different people and one professor, if the professor announces something and somebody writes it down but not necessarily everybody heard her, what the app will help you do is, as long as you're enrolled in the same class, you'll get a notification if another student adds an assignment to the queue. Here you go, Evan. Do a little bit.
So the idea there is that the whole group works together on that list. You get the due date, you get a little bit of a description for it, and it helps you make sure that you don't miss assignments. The idea there is that a lot of us, you write it down in different places. Some people use their calendar, some people use reminders, but at the end of the day, you still have to remember to write it down. This one, with this app, the whole class works together on it. So, and I mean, in addition to that, it's got some other neat features with more to come. The other main thing is like the queue itself. When you first load the app, it gives you your list chronologically, so you can see what's coming up first. It'll turn things red when it's coming soon. It helps you know what you need to pay attention to. Maybe even if you need to stay home and actually do homework tonight, stuff like that. That's the idea.
All right, thanks, guys. So how does it feel to actually have an app? Because I don't know if I don't think you guys mentioned it. Their app is actually on the App Store. If you go, what should they search for?
MyQ.
So you should search for MyQ, one word, and you should be able to find them. Also, if you search online, their website is nickelanddimedevelopment.com, correct? Okay, so if you... or myq.us. And if you go there, there should be a link also to the Apple App Store. And it's currently for sale for 99 cents. So if you'd like to see, I mean, if you, it's only Apple, but if you're curious, you can check it out and make them feel good about themselves. But anyway, so how does it actually feel to have an app on the App Store that people are buying?
Well, it's pretty good. You know, we started this in January, and it's May, and you know, 4 months of teaching yourself a whole new language and developing something that you feel good enough to actually put on the App Store. It's quite a good feeling.
Yeah, I can imagine. And I know you guys have bigger plans. Do you want to talk a little bit about how basically the Simple Class project has evolved into this giant nickel and dime development idea?
Sure. So nickel and dime, the idea there is that we're going to be a startup for other startups. So we are a small company ourselves, but we're hoping that other people that they have a great idea, they don't know what to do with it, we can help them turn a good app idea into something tangible.
All right, thank you, Evan. So, I mean, I guess the takeaway from this is that if you have an idea, you should definitely chase after it. And whether you go to, you know, an IT type program at, you know, UWW or another school, if you have a passion and an idea, you should definitely chase after it, because you can accomplish some pretty amazing things like these two fabulous gentlemen who I'm very proud to call my students. Thank you, guys.
One thing to talk about, Elena, though, too, is since maybe we didn't even introduce it, we are actually here in Highland Hall at UW-Whitewater. So a lot of the buzz that you see coming along here is because there's classes in session. So you have, while we're doing these poster presentations and why people are showcasing the work that they did and some of the cool things that they've done in their classes and what they're doing now beyond their classes, we've got a lot of folks around here that are checking us out, and these are just students and it's just a regular classroom. And we're in Highland Hall. And it's probably the most high-tech business college anywhere in the country, particularly here in in Wisconsin for sure. And we're right in the atrium right here. So it's a real exciting opportunity. I mean, obviously IT is something that we're excited about, but to study it here in these facilities, it's I guess it's fantastic, because we've got, there's no other high-tech building out here just like this and quite like this anywhere in the country. So we get to do a lot of pretty creative and unique things with all the things that we've got available to us. And so just so if you get a lot of background that's going around here, it's just from a lot of the people that are walking around, coming to and from different classes.
All right, thank you, Andy. Now we're going to come over to another presentation. This is Michael Ritter, and he is actually a student in our department, but he is a foreign exchange student as well. And he has been at Whitewater for this past year. Last semester he took my mobile development course and was interested in continuing to do some interesting projects, but he wanted to do something a little bit different. So Michael, would you like to explain what you did this semester?
So, okay. I helped Elena to extend her application. It was an existing application called HealthShark. So what it does, it utilizes Twitter to retrieve tweets, and we analyze those tweets and oh, sorry, I'm hanging a bit. So we're retrieving the tweets and we make statistics out of it for health practitioners. So, oh my God. Yeah, wait, sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. Yep. It's a lot of, Michael's been explaining to a lot of people, so I think he's had a lot of people stop by, so I think he's a little burnt out already, and it's just getting started. So basically what this is that it's a piece of software that basically interfaces with Twitter and monitors Twitter 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's been running for months on end. And I don't know if you guys realize this, but unless you put a privacy setting on your Twitter account, your tweets are available for everybody all over the world to see. So what does that mean? That means that anybody can actually take a screenshot or capture it or save it or put it in their database. So just a little word about privacy there. Make sure things you put out there are actually what you want out. But from a research perspective, the ability to do that is pretty interesting. So we found out that a lot of public health officials are interested in what people are saying about health and potentially like disease outbreaks on social media. So what we have is we have a piece of software that listens to Twitter constantly for mentions of certain diseases within, in this case, we're doing it for public health officials in Illinois. So it's only listening to tweets coming out of the state of Illinois. And we basically have a database filled up with millions of tweets that people have talked about. And from there, we've started doing some data mining. So we've basically started trying to figure out, because if you think tweets are really small, so there's a lot of them, but it's only 140 characters, not a lot of information. So how do you turn that into something that can tell public health officials when there's potentially something like an outbreak that they should be interested in? And then once they do know there's something interesting, how do they actually make sense of all of these tweets? So Michael, we had, like he said, this was an existing thing that was worked on. This came out of my PhD thesis. But there was a lot of things that we're still missing. So Michael did a lot of work for us. So one thing that he did is that he increased the security of the front end website. So Michael, would you like to talk a little bit about the security and accounts?
So, I'm sorry. So what I basically did, first of all, I improved the front end. So I implemented a object-oriented driven programming structure. And further that, I used, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. So basically, Michael added a bunch of different things in. So for example, we have what's called an incidence map. I don't know how well you can see this, but basically what it does is it kind of makes like an area look like it has chicken pox, and the bigger the dot, it indicates the more people are talking about it. We also have some different visualization tools, and basically we did a bunch of really cool projects or a bunch of additions, and we're going to be doing some more research coming out of this. So thank you, Michael. It's quite all right.
Well, actually, Elena, we have a visitor here that might provide some information that would be useful for students that are considering going to college, in particular UW-Whitewater. So.
Oh, okay. Well, this is actually Jessica Talbert. I'll let you introduce her, or I'll let her tell you about herself.
Hi guys, my name is Jessica. I work in the admissions department here at UW-Whitewater, so I'm really excited to have McGuanago live with us and any other schools that we see in Wisconsin and maybe in Illinois. Excuse me. Elena had asked me to come here today to talk to you guys about admissions, and hopefully you're really excited about all the cool things you have to do. You are in the unique situation where one of the top most technologically advanced schools, particularly in the area of IT, is right here, right in your own backyard, 20 minutes from you. So UW-Whitewater has one of the highest ranked IT programs and one of the top 10 business programs in the entire country. So it is a really cool experience for you guys, and if you are interested in business or IT or anything like that, it's a really good opportunity for you. You don't really have to go far to look for business. You can look right here in your own backyard. So many of you are hopefully sophomores, juniors, starting to look at schools. My biggest advice is you're so close. Come here, visit. See Highland for yourself. You're seeing a lot of cool stuff right now, but I promise you it's so much cooler in person. So definitely come see it. Come check us out. We have tours in the summertime. We have them Monday through Friday. So we'll have them at 9:30 and 1:30 Monday through Friday. If you're interested in applying, something that is really cool for you juniors that may be watching right now, the UW system application is opening a month early just for you. So you are the first class that gets to apply early. You can start working on your application August 1st of this year, and then you can submit it September 1st, and we'll actually start admitting students to UW-Whitewater for next fall. September 15th. So it's a lot closer than you think, and if you apply early, you can definitely get kind of a head start on everything while you're visiting campuses and things. So I highly recommend it. I know sometimes you've heard a lot about Whitewater, especially you McGuanago students, because it's right down the road from you, but you might not think about it as a really good opportunity to study technology, but we are ranked so high in so many different areas, particularly in our business school and particularly in this particular area that you are looking at right now. So I really, really hope you guys check out UW-Whitewater. I'll be hanging around, so if there's more questions, I can sure be able to answer them at the end, but I think we have more stuff to show you now, right?
We absolutely do. Thank you so much, Jessica. So now I'm going to take you over to a set of tables. Professor Robert Lighthizer is not here, but these are his students, and they cover 2 of his classes. The first student that you'll talk to is taking his web development class. So I will let Justin talk to you about what he did this semester.
Thank you. So I am actually currently taking web development, and in web development we needed to create a web application for traveling. And on the screen right here, you can kind of see what it is. Basically, it's a conversion site so that when you go overseas, you can choose where you're going, so like United States to Ecuador or, China. And then you can choose, currency, length, volume, the different types of conversions that you normally would do. And it'll change from foot to meter, and you can put in, 5 feet, how many meters is that? And it'll calculate that for you and let you know. And that's basically what this site's for. And we are actually currently working on making it mobile responsive so you can actually use this website on your phone also. So.
All right, thank you so much, Justin. And can you tell me, so this travel companion is actually related to another project here. So there's Dr. Christina Outlays. So actually he was also in the mobile development course, but he worked on the radio station app. And just as a side note, he's also a part of Q, so Justin's kind of doing a little bit of everything today. So what would you say was the most challenging part of working on this project?
I'd say the most challenging part of this project is we need to work with the currencies on this one, and we actually have to interface with an outside source to pull in the current up-to-date conversion rates so that when people actually use it, they get the most up-to-date and they don't have old data. So that's the hardest part, was interfacing with an outside source. So.
And what would you consider to be the most rewarding part of working on the project?
I'd say the most rewarding part is basically talking to the clients and learning how to start from scratch, being handed a project and not knowing how to go forward with it, and learning how to go through those steps to actually, the information gathering and take it from an idea to an actual finished product.
All right, thank you so much, Justin. So now we'll segue from this fabulous student to this fabulous pair of students. This is Justin and Jacob. They actually, sorry, it's been a long day. I know he's fabulous, even if I have his name mixed up. But basically, they are in Robert Lighthizer business application development class. They're actually running off to their classes right now because, as Andy said, this is a busy building full of classrooms and students who have to go places. But they want to give you a few sentence introduction to what they did this semester on their project.
Sure. We built the resident evaluation system for the medical colleges of Wisconsin. So basically it's a way for administrators and faculty at the school to keep track of residents currently enrolled in their program. The reason that we built the program was because there was a new reporting standard that came out for the ACGME that requires them to use a milestone-based system. So our system uses milestones to track residents' progress through their medical school.
So that's pretty amazing. You're actually building an app that's being used by real doctors to measure basically how ready they are to treat people. So that's pretty impressive. So how does it make you feel that your app is being used to basically evaluate doctors?
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of pressure, and thankfully we had a good tech lead, Kevin Jenner, who's actually an anesthesiologist himself, and he was able to give us a lot of guidance into what we can and can't do with the system. So that made it a little bit easier for us.
And I heard that you guys, I saw your website. If they weren't packed up, you'd be able to take a look at it. They did a really fabulous job. And I heard an interesting story from some of their teammates that apparently there was a reporting segment that they were looking for, but their client actually thought it might be too difficult to implement. But Jacob over here, who is a pretty amazing developer, decided over the weekend that he was going to pull it off. So Jacob, can you tell us a little bit about how that came together and why you felt so passionate about this project?
Sure. Well, basically, Kevin said pretty much that if it was possible, we should try to do it. It wasn't terribly difficult. It's just a couple of radar graphs and a couple of tables. So basically, pretty much I thought it was possible, so I went ahead and tried it. And it wasn't that bad, just making pretty graphs and stuff. So, yeah.
All right, see how humble he is? Jacob's constantly exceeding expectations. It was nothing. So thank you so much, guys, and enjoy going to your class. Now we're going to go over this way. We're going to switch streams a little bit. So far we've talked to you a lot about information technology projects, but we're not just the IT department, we also have supply chain management. And we have Professor Samir Prasad and one of his students who are doing some really amazing work. Now some of you might say, supply chain management? I have no idea what that is. Well, it's a really cool area, so I'll let Samir tell you what supply chain is, and then I'll let him and his student talk to you a little bit about the really amazing work that they've been doing in this area.
Thank you. So what is supply chain management? So I think if you want to think about things in life, anything you eat, anything you wear, anything you touch has been transported, has been produced, has been moved, has been brought to you. And it has to be brought to you right at the right time, right place, right location. The same thing is also true for things like in the service sector. So when you go for education, you have to look at, what is a convenience? Convenience of the class schedules, the bus schedules, all that has to be tied in. So I'm just giving you some examples. But when we are in school, we go sometimes beyond our just immediate fields. And we also grab people from other areas. So in this project, we work with a student who was a math major. We work with a marketing major. And we are actually looking at science experiments. We're looking at field experiments at treating. You see, if you think about your sewage system is a supply chain. It's the output. And if you think of that, that has to be treated. It's a very expensive treatment. So what we've done in these experiments is we've put plantations of bamboo. Now this was in India with our partner university. And we have a way to filter this, what we call black water and gray water, through these bamboo fields. And not only we treat the water, but we actually are able to reduce or sequester the carbon in the bamboo, and in addition to filter the water. So this is some of the things that we're able to do. Furthermore, we're doing these experiments in villages, and we can actually provide income to the villagers. So it's green, income, and it treats the water. So this is one of the projects, and these students, they do their research, but the research goes on in the field, but eventually that experience lets them get great jobs. So all of them have gotten some really great jobs. So this is one bamboo project. Now I'll pass this on to Fadi, who's my student right now, the graduate student. He's going to talk a little bit about some project methodology that he's been doing and give you a little more current status. Okay, go ahead, Fadi.
Thank you, Professor. To continue the talk about the efforts in developing countries, here we have tried to understand the implications for modeling NGOs, non-governmental organizations. That's for a waste management NGO in India, and we have tried to understand how to model the system. It's very complicated in developing countries because we have many stakeholders with many interests. So we have chosen 3 different areas, 3 different approaches to model these systems. The first one is systems dynamic, systems thinking, and adaptive management. There are slight differences between each, but we have tried to choose certain factors and to go from there. We have the people, we have the trust between them, the different stakeholders. So we have tried to find a way to model all these factors and to try to understand how to get the best results out of them, how to implement it, and how to enhance the economy of the people who are working there. That's in brief, and the propagation for this project, actually we are trying to franchise for to implement this experiment in other cities, also in India. So we hope things go well. Thank you, Professor.
Yeah, so what it is that we do research. The research is what we call grounded research. We actually go and work in the fields, collect the data, work with the NGO partners, and then we have indirect products. So when we started doing this research, in this case with the people that pick garbage on the street, the rag pickers, we were doing this environmental analysis, and then we're mapping their supply chains. And one thing we found out was the children were not going to school. Children were not going to school because the schools were inconvenient. It wasn't in their locality. So we actually, this last year, we've added 5 schools, and it's only cost us $2 grand per school, 25 kids per school. So that's some of the other outputs that we get in our projects. So let me go on to another project that we did, and this was by 2 of my students, and the nice thing is that this was a really good experience. In fact, I took them to India, and they actually went and collected data with the different NGOs. And here one of the things we study not only in supply chain, but also in the IT area is project management. So the same methods that we apply in, say, in a manufacturing or a database development, we can apply in terms of projects in developing countries and how to execute them. So we collected data, and in fact, we some of the findings from this, if you're familiar with Lions Club, okay, Lions Club is a very big, every town has a Lions Club. We actually have worked with the Lions Club in Oak Brook, the headquarters, and shared some of our experiences on this methodology. So there's some implications on that. It's some best practices. And again, these students here, one's Lauren, the other one's Ellie. Lauren actually got to work, started working in a big industrial company based on her experiences. And now she's actually started up her own logistics company. And then Ellie is working for a large multinational construction firm in Washington, D.C. So I think what you need to do is, there are a couple of things. One is you have to understand that it's an interdisciplinary approach. So don't just think, oh, I will only study business and I won't worry about sciences. You know, we have to have some understanding of sciences too. Because how do we do the water filtration? We need to understand the science behind it. Then what you have to do is think about, instead of just focusing on book learning, the ability to do research, the ability to do experiments, and to ask the questions that other people don't ask is critical. This is what will get you a good job. This will get you that experience that will get you to start your own company. So this is all I have to say at this point.
Well, thank you, Dr. Prasada. A question I've got for you is, I mean, these are some pretty fascinating things, and just as an outsider, I mean, when I hear about the stuff you're doing, I mean, it gets me excited, I mean, to see this. But I'm just wondering, what is the passion that drives you to take on these topics like this?
You know, I'm fortunate that I'm a professor. I'm a full professor, so for me, that's the highest rank we have in academia. So when we do our work, whether it's teaching or it's research, we want to make an impact on the society. You know, we do projects with companies, we do projects with defense contractors, and we improve their operations. But to go and do things for the most vulnerable and most poor people, whether that's in the U.S. or whether it's in India or in Africa, is probably more meaningful. And to give you an example, so, you know, for example, we're talking about schools. It only costs $2,000 per year to set up one school. This research, indirectly, will end up setting up 50 schools. Now, you know, I don't know, and education is so important. I mean, that's all you want. I mean, you know, what else do you want in life? So that's what gives me happiness.
And how do other students get involved in doing this type of work with you?
Well, I think it starts with taking the classes with the professors. Of course, becoming a supply chain major would help because you'd get to know me too. But I think it's not just, you know, myself. I think there are a lot of projects. There are a lot of good organizations. So there are Lions clubs, there are Rotary clubs. In my experience, and then you have these travel abroad experiences. You know, you have to think, in fact, like a social entrepreneur. You know, you have to take the initiative. And the other thing you need to do is, it's not a one-year plan. You have to commit yourself for 5 years, because that's when the true impact happens. I'm not sure if I answered your question, but you have to take that initiative, because there's a lot of opportunity out there.
Well, that's fantastic, and I hope we can see with the work that Dr. Prasad does with his students and what we see with Dr. Platt and her students and my own students and Dr. Lighthizer. I mean, there's a lot of different opportunities available for students to reach things that, for organizations, profit and nonprofit organizations. And I think that's something that sets us apart as a College of Business here at UW-Whitewater. Besides some of the cool things that you see, there's a lot of cool things in terms of the impact that we do. And there's many different ways that we do have an impact.
All right, well, thank you so much for sharing your interesting research. I mean, he's really, you know, kind of changing the world one research project at a time. Now we're going to take a little stroll. We have so many projects. We have to go over to the other side of Highland Hall. Well, I guess the other half of this part of Highland Hall. And we're going to show you a couple projects. The first one that we're going to stop by is by Dr. Chotan Basu. So as I mentioned earlier, we have an entrepreneurial center that we're affiliated with. It's actually the Whitewater Entrepreneurial Center. And Chotan Basu is sort of like the king of everything entrepreneurial. He teaches the course. He's the guy who basically convinced me that I ought to come here and work. And he has, in addition to inspiring students and faculty to start their own companies, advising them and coaching them, Chotan has his own company, which is completely awesome. I will turn it over to you because he can explain it a million times better than I can.
So I'm supposed to talk about my app, right?
Yes, you are.
So maybe we can move over a little bit over here. So that screen back there is kind of our screen. So what I did is I was involved with the Park and Recreation Agency in a big way in our community. And so there's about 12,000 Park and Rec agencies in United States. And I was very involved volunteering, coaching, and so on. And the more I got involved, I found that it was a great way for communities to come together. And the kids benefited from it, the parents benefited from it, and it was just wonderful kind of in a community for everybody to come together. So what I wanted to do was to create a solution so that you as a parent can find out what's going on around you. So the first thing which I did is I reached out to the National Recreation and Parks Association in Virginia, in Ashburn, Virginia, NRPA, and I worked with them to kind of come up with the concept of let's make something available that Park and Rec agencies can use to reach their community members. So what we created was a product called Ghost Drive, and that's what the app is. So if you download Ghost Drive and you pick your community, it will show you the events in your community. In some cases you can register for it, and in other cases you can get more details about the program. It has integrated social media, so community members can bring in their Facebook and things like that and be able to market those products for you on behalf of the Park and Rec agencies. It has directions, and that's where the app is right now. And it's pretty powerful in reaching out to community members. Our next stage of this, which we'll be releasing this year, are notifications so that people, community members can know when there's rain delays, cancellations, and things like that. It's a very exciting project because it came out of the university. Obviously, I started it, but the people involved are mostly students, a lot of other faculty, and some business people. And we're doing quite well in terms of we now are in 24 states. We have over 210 Park and Rec agencies working with us. Our hope is to continue growing. So that's kind of the concept of it. So I actually have Austin, who's one of our students who works with us, and I'll have him tell you a little bit about kind of from his perspective what we're doing. So I told him about Strive, so you can talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So Dr. Basu was kind enough to bring on students throughout the process in developing the company. A couple students early on, and now we have several students that work for Ghost Drive. And it's really been a great opportunity to get real world experience in being a part of a startup environment and being a part of developing something that can truly revolutionize an industry such as Park and Rec.
So you work in the area of like data acquisition from Park and Rec agencies, sales, and things like that. So.
Right, right.
And there's other people who help with the programming, and so there's different areas that the students work in. So, back to you, Elena.
All right, well, thank you so much, Chotan. And for students who are interested in getting involved in entrepreneurship, like if they come to Whitewater or they're interested in learning more, what do you suggest that they do?
Talk to us. So talk to the faculty. I think everybody's very engaged here. And what has happened is the Chancellor has helped us create this innovation center where there's a lot of this activity going on with faculty and students. And there's kind of an ecosystem that has come together. So it's a very, very exciting time for people who want to pursue their dreams as entrepreneurs. And I think there's a lot of action happening in Whitewater. So a lot of the people you see in these videos and a lot of the people that are available, that you can search the Whitewater website and so on and look at the Innovation Center, would be glad to help. So any touch point that you can reach out to will help from there.
Thank you. And just because I was particularly impressed with a student organization that I believe, Enactus, you're the advisor for that. Could you tell them a little bit about Enactus and what they've accomplished?
Sure. So Enactus is what used to be known as Students in Free Enterprise. Enactus is the new name for that organization. It's a great student org. It's global. There's, I believe, over 1,600 universities across 39 countries that are involved. What Enactus students do, and in fact Austin is a member of Enactus, is they use their entrepreneurial skills to help other people. to transform lives. And there's some amazing projects that they end up doing. So our Enactus chapter is brand new. And we actually did a project with farmers in Wisconsin, and then we went to the national competition and made quarterfinals and won some awards. There were some amazing teams out there. It's a great way to use your entrepreneurial skills to help people. So I'm looking for a bunch of great young people to work with us in Enactus. It doesn't have to be in business. They can come from any background, and it's a very fast-growing organization, and we're super excited about it.
Well, thank you so much, Chotan. He does some really exciting. Oh, you're welcome. He does some really exciting work, so if you do happen to come to UWW, definitely look this man up and take a class with him if you can. Now we're going to move on to this student here is Shelby, and she has taken ITSCM 285, which is Business Web Application Design with Professor Roger Yin. And I'm going to, Shelby, would you like to explain to us a little bit about what your project was and who your client was?
Sure. Our project was essentially to learn how to consult with a business on the basis of web development, content management on the web, basic HTML and CSS coding. So kind of a really broad project, actually. My section of my class consulted with Amy O'Neill, who is the Executive Board Director of People Against Domestic Abuse of Jefferson County. And then another section of the same class consulted with the National Black Student Union. And basically, both of these organizations came to us with kind of not really good websites, and it was our goal to give them a website that, in the end, that they'll end up using. So actually, for my section today, we presented the final version of our websites, and Amy is actually going to choose one, and she's going to host it. So essentially, we donated all of our time on the project, so she didn't have to pay to have her website developed at all. And then we just provide kind of like the back-end support, training her staff on how to update and maintain the website.
So how has the project been received by your clients?
I think it was received really well. Our client actually doesn't really know anything about web design or managing a website at all. So I think she definitely received it really well. I think it was definitely a learning experience for both of us. So definitely received it really well. So hopefully she finds a website that she loves that she can choose.
And what do you consider to have been the most challenging part of this project?
Definitely, I think working on a team and then finding a platform that works for all of us. We had the option to choose the platform. Some people coded their entire website with WordPress. Other people chose to use sort of like a freemium service like Wix, Weebly, Google Sites, or Squarespace. And so that was really challenging just to try and keep the client in mind. It's a nonprofit organization, so she doesn't have a big budget that she can spend on hosting a website. So you definitely have to take that into consideration. I think there are a lot of things. It's more than just making a website look pretty. There's a lot of stuff in the background that you have to keep in mind. So that was definitely really challenging. And then I think everyone has different tastes when you're working in a group. So definitely trying to combine a cohesive, positive user experience on a website, but finding something that everyone in your group wants to turn in and say this is our final project. So that was also really challenging.
I can imagine, but it sounds like you had a lot of fun. How do you and your classmates feel about that, you know, basically one of these websites is going to be actually used to help someone manage their not-for-profit?
Definitely friendly competitive spirit, I think probably inspired a lot of extra work on this project. So that was really cool, and just in general, PETA does a lot of work in the Jefferson County, just in that community, so being a part of something that really will help a lot of people, I think, is also really inspiring.
Well, thank you so much, Shelby. And now we're moving on to our last set of projects. Last but certainly not least, this is Dr. Paul Ambrose, who, in addition to having two pretty awesome projects, is actually the king of all of this because he is the head of the ITSCM department. So, Paul, no pressure, but would you like to present what you did?
You want to talk about the visits first? I could do that. Whichever one you would like. Sure. We have a center on campus called Visits, and this is a business outreach center. We have some 7 such centers catering to different aspects of what the businesses need from the college, and this center basically addresses the IT needs of local businesses. And we are a focused center. We'll only look at IT needs of small businesses and nonprofits. And what we do is we hire students to actually work in the center, and the students actually do projects for real-world clients and get paid for it. Again, sitting in Whitewater, not being in Milwaukee or Madison, there's not a lot of opportunities within the area to do work. So what this center helps is we bring in a lot of client projects, and these client projects are from all over the place. We have even done projects from Michigan, but a lot of projects are from in and around about 100-mile radius. And we do a lot of website designs. It is just not using HTML and CSS. We actually use content management systems to develop websites for clients. The clients pay for these projects, and the money goes to fund students. I mean, students are paid very well. We pay top dollars for students on campus, and they get valuable experience. And students are directly working with the clients, and they are getting those real-world experience just sitting in Whitewater, having not to go anywhere to get that internship kind of experiences. Sure. So that is Visits. Visits is again, there are a couple of us faculty who do this, myself and John Chenoweth. John Chenoweth is the Associate Dean in the college. We started Visits in 2008, and the center has been going very well. Personally, I also have another project. This project is a social entrepreneurship venture where we work with the company that I started works with marginalized people around the world. These are typically women who are illiterate, that have no other skill set, and we go and train them, give them a livelihood, and the products that they make come to the US market, and we are market creators. We brand those products, we sell the products here, and send the money back to the different parts of the world we are working with. We are currently working in China. We have plans to expand to India and other places. But it's basically a social entrepreneurship venture, which I'm doing it as a personal project here.
Well, thank you so much for that explanation, Paul. So how does it feel that you're able to use your position at the department and your knowledge of information technology to make such a positive impact both on students' lives in terms of providing them with valuable jobs that give them experience and also pay while they're students, as well as having this social aspect to your work?
So how do we go about this?
How does it make you feel that you have this broad impact?
Like, if I start feeling that it's because of me or anything like that, I think that's wrong. Whenever you're in a position to make things happen, you should make things happen and let others do things for you. And every little thing that you can do matters. So whenever we see students actually changing something or doing a project with clients, I mean, when you see the learning that happens, and that's why it's just not for me or for the department, it's for the campus, it's for the community. And that's what we do. In fact, I have Liz here. Liz is, she actually works in Visits. She's our web developer, and she has done projects. In fact, our current project was with the pet bakery. Very interesting concept. Like pet stores are about $1 billion industry, but this is a bakery. And they actually bake cakes for dogs and cats for birthdays. And this is a company out of Pewaukee or Oconomowoc. I think it's just Pewaukee. And Liz has been involved in that. She's an IT major with a business application development emphasis. So she's looking more on the web development side. And I think it's a great experience for her to be working with real clients directly. And we have WebEx meetings almost every week.
So Liz, how is it that you got involved in Visits?
I guess it's kind of a funny story. I actually went to Dr. Ambrose about an internship opportunity that I have this summer, and being able to fulfill that requirement, I had to have 600 hours, which I wouldn't have been able to meet. So Dr. Ambrose offered me a job with Visits so I could learn some more and also get those internship hours. So it really has just spiraled into something that I was not expecting with just a meeting with Dr. Ambrose.
And how does it make you feel to actually get paid to, while you're still a student, get paid to use the skills that you're learning and actually help businesses, do their business more effectively by having beautiful websites?
It's actually pretty amazing. Whenever people ask me about my job, they're like, really, you can do that? And just like just being in awe and just seeing how much I have learned just with this semester, and just being able to take the time with Dr. Ambrose and how much he has taught me. Being in a classroom is one thing, but actually doing it in real life is a totally different thing.
Thank you. And I just wanted to say that you probably picked up from talking to a lot of the professors, and especially Paul, that they really care about getting the students involved and about actually doing work, that's not some just kind of dusty theoretical stuff, but actually has a broader impact on the community and makes the world a better place. And so first of all, if you're interested in that and you actually want to go to a place where professors really care about you and that you're successful, Whitewater in general, but especially the ITSCM department, are a great place. Another thing that I wanted to mention is that if for those of you ladies in the crowd, that sometimes information technology or computing is viewed as more of a man's field. So if you're kind of on the fence, I just wanted to let you know that one of the things I love the most about this department is how fabulous they are at just basically being supportive and inclusive. And as an information technology professor, I have never felt so welcome as a woman here. And Liz, what has your experience been like as a female IT student?
Whenever I tell people that I'm an IT major, they're always like, "Oh, well, that's a really male-dominated field. Do you have any girls in your classes?" And even though it is a male-dominated field for the most part, I do not feel I don't feel like a minority in my classes. I feel welcomed by the students and also the professors.
Yeah, both the professors and also the student body, they're all very fabulous. Everybody is absolutely welcome here. If you have a passion to do interesting work and are interested in information technology or supply chain management, we would love to have you. So Andy, do you have anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, I think if we're just to take a step back and look at some of the different things that we've done today, there's some common themes that have come about. Obviously, there's a lot of different types of exciting things that both the faculty and the students are working on. A lot of things are very hands-on. So the thing that you get out of this education and what you get from the classes here is that we teach you the theory, we teach you some of the structure and the process about doing these things, but you actually get a chance to do them and to actually have an impact by doing things for real world people that will have some benefit for it. Whether that is working for an organization, working for the medical college and creating an application for them, designing an app, going to different parts of the world like India or Thailand, whatever it is. I mean, there's lots of different opportunities to try and experience these things firsthand, and you don't get that at most places. I think if there's another thing theme to kind of take away from this is bringing back to one of the points that Dr. Ambrose had mentioned, is that if you're in a position to make things happen, make it happen. And that's what you get with a lot of these classes where you have a lot of service-based learning, where you don't realize that the little skills that we're picking up in these classes really do, I mean, these are unique skills that not everybody around has. So the opportunity to give back to different organizations in different areas that don't have those skills or that really do need them, it does make a difference. And I think that's something that certainly does set us apart as a program.
Well, thank you so much, Andy. And before we wrap things up, I just wanted to get Jessica on here again. So in case you would like that information again about who to contact in case you're interested in Whitewater.
Yeah, in case you're interested in Whitewater, we really hope you had a good experience today. Again, the next step for you is to actually get on campus, talk to one of the faculty members, talk to other students, and just see all the buildings, see Highland. We're only on the first floor, so you can see a lot more. So definitely go online. First of all, the website is uww.edu, and if you click on the admissions, you can actually see a couple different things. First, you can see how you can tour campus. I already mentioned we have tours Monday through Friday. We also have a couple of visit days this summer on June 12th and July 9th, as well as plenty this fall. So if you want to come visit campus, that's a great opportunity. Next fall, I don't know exactly when, but I know for sure we'll be visiting McGuanago, and if we remote out to any of the other schools, you can see when and where we'll be visiting your school. So we'll come to talk to you as well as you can apply on the website. I know we were working with Twitter and our Twitter feed is down, but if you have questions and we can't get our Twitter feed up, if you want to tweet them to @UWW admissions, I'll be sure to get them over to the business department if we can't answer them. If you just want to put a face with a Twitter feed, I'm at uw-whitewater, so you can tweet me directly too, or follow me on Twitter, and we'll get you in contact with all the fantastic things we got going on here. So definitely come check us out, come see us in person, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Jessica. And we really appreciate your participation. So Jessica gave you the admissions information. If you have any questions, if you'd like to get into contact with us, if you'd like to talk to some of the students, especially like Q and some of the other groups, feel free to shoot me an email. My name is Elena Platt, ALANA-PLATT. And if you go on the UWW website and search for me, you should get my contact information. This is Paul Ambrose, our department head, and the fabulous Andy Saganek, who coordinated the entire web portion of this. So thanks, McWanago, and all others. I hope you have a fabulous afternoon.